Hello, Newsweek fans. This is Gary Loss, and I just wanted to talk to you today for just a minute about the concern about climate change. Now, I'm going to take a little bit different angle, and I'm going to share some information with you in just a minute. Before I do that, though, I want to let you know what I am not and what I am. All right. So, first of all, I am not a climate change denier. I live in Arkansas now, and I can see that the climate is changing. Uh, it didn't get as cold as early as it normally does here, and it appears to be like the trees are not changing as early as they normally would. At least I'm being told that by people here. Uh, there's obviously some changes going on now. Whether those are all man-made, partly man-made, I'm not sure, and I'm not going to offer myself as an expert. I, from my research, I believe that is mostly natural, but I do believe we are playing a role in it, and we should be good stewards of the earth, and therefore we need to be careful about what we do. Okay, so I'm not a denier. I'm just a calm, level-headed, and fairly informed person. Um, Number two, I'm not in favor of relying on fossil fuels. I admit that their role has been tremendous. And I don't think we're just ready to shove them all aside instantly, because I think that would cause massive problems that would fall mainly upon the people at the lowest ends of the economic ladder. So I have some concern for my fellow human beings about just overly and rapidly evolving uh, with alternative fuels, simply because it can't happen that quick. It could cause a lot of suffering. Okay, that's all I'm saying. And I'm not denying that maybe the climate changing isn't going to cause suffering, but you have to balance things like everything else. Nothing is 100% one way or the other. And that's part of the problem that we have in our world right now, extremes and ideologies. Um, just to let you know, I'm not a Trump supporter. I did not vote for him. Okay. I mean, I hated everything about him. There were some things that he did that I liked, quite a few things I did not like. I've written about some of the things I don't like. On the other hand, I was not and still am not a fan of Hillary Clinton and could not bring myself to vote for her. Sorry. I didn't vote for either one of them. And in previous elections, I typically wrote in names of either independent parties or people who were more moderate in their views about things. Uh, my ideal candidate would be somebody like John Kasich from the Republican side, or Tulsi Gabbard, who I really like. And she is very liberal, more liberal probably than I am, but she's a person of integrity and honesty and reasonableness. And I really wish she would run. And that's an aside, but I'm just letting you know who I am and am not as a person. Now, who I am. I am a reasonable, informed individual. If you talk to anybody in my family or my friends, they will tell you Gary is a middle of the road kind of person who has an intelligent grasp of things. I don't tend to fluctuate to extremes. I like a good, juicy conspiracy theory as much as anyone else, but I don't get sucked into that world simply because being stuck in that world, not just occasionally looking at it, but being stuck in that world is just a recipe for bad mental health and a bad outlook in life. It doesn't do any good. Who else am I? I am interested in alternative forms of energy. I've written about some of these, like butanol, regenerative farming, the idea of all these biofuels. I think that's fascinating. And I want to do those things. I think we should do those things. I'm not necessarily in favor of forcing them. I think market forces can take care of it. And I think government plays a role by encouraging those things, not by mandating them. Okay. Just, okay, that's who I am. Um, I also am a person that is um, careful with my words because I think our words matter. And particularly with mental health, I'm a person who's concerned about mental health. I have a degree in psychology, and I've written a lot about psychology and philosophy and mental health. And I think we need to be careful with our words about everything, including our talk about climate change, because we've reached a point in the United States where the way we talk to each other and the way that we frame arguments is either like a personal ad hominem type of approach, or it's alarmist and extreme, None of that gets us down the road. It certainly doesn't win any hearts and minds. So just forget that nonsense. Okay. And that's kind of the heart of what I'm talking about today. Um, I also am a person that believes in dissenting opinions. I want to let you have your say. You may be even crazy, okay? But I'll let you expose yourself for that. I don't believe in shutting people down because I just think that augurs their entrenched ideological beliefs. It doesn't help change them or it doesn't advance your argument or your point of view. It just creates problems. Okay. So that's something to think about. Now, with that in mind, I want to share something with you. So let me just share my screen here. Okay. And here we go. All right. So this presentation is called Be Careful with Your Words, with everything, but I'm particularly talking about climate change here. Now, here's some headlines over the past few years, especially the past year or so, regarding climate change. So, this from the Daily Telegraph: the world stands on the brink of failure. UN report: unprecedented changes needed to protect Earth from global warming. Yes, that's from USA Today. Wake up and smell the forest fires. If I were an editor of a newspaper, I don't think I would let that go through. But anyway, Forbes put that out. Incredibly grim prognosis on global warming also carries clarion call for global action. It's not just grim, it's incredibly grim. And notice the word prognosis, like we're in the hospital. And then not just a call, a clarion call. Okay, that's from the Los Angeles Times. How about this one from Yahoo News? Report: climate change threatens to devastate the world's leading economic powers, including the US. Just in case you didn't know, we're going to put a hyphen there just to like make the drama that much more intense. Okay. And we're going to use words like threaten, devastate. Now, look at some of these type of propaganda headlines against marijuana. Marijuana, assassin of youth. That's by the bonehead Anslinger, which I've written about. Okay, and not positively because he did a lot of damage. The marijuana menace and how it causes a lust for blood. Ooh. And how about this one? This is probably my favorite. Murder weed found up and down coast. Deadly marijuana dope plant ready for harvest. That means enslavement of California children. Oh my goodness. Wow. Well, we know none of that's true. All right. Or how about if you grew up in the 80s, you remember this one, right? This is your brain on drugs. Let's smash some eggs and some kitchen equipment and whatever, and prove that marijuana is going to completely destroy your life. Okay. Now, I know what you're saying, Gary. Gary, that's my name. This is not the same thing. Marijuana and climate change are not the same thing. I know that. I get that. I told you I'm a reasonable, intelligent, informed person. I get they're not the same thing. And I'm not trying to equate them exactly. What I am saying is you don't reach and change people and inform people through fear. Yes, you give them the facts and you let them know about it, but fear just causes people to sort of downshift and retreat into their own ideologies or defense mechanisms. It doesn't help to actually advance understanding, okay, or engender change. That doesn't work at all. And of course, I don't believe we're in that type of crisis. And I could be wrong, but that's just my opinion. However, I do know that you're not going to reach people like me with headlines like that. And I know other people who are similar to me that this kind of propagandizing does not work with. Okay. It's too extreme, it's inflammatory, and it just doesn't advance the argument. I get the seriousness behind it. I understand it. I just choose not to be a Greta Thunberg. Okay, that's just me. I don't choose to react that way, and I am worried that these kind of things have a deleterious effect upon especially younger people and kids. There's reports coming out that they're suffering from anxiety and stress and depression disorders based on this stuff. It is not that they shouldn't be aware of these things, they should be, but be careful how we couch our language because it affects their mental health. And when your mental health is affected like that, you surely can't think clearly. You're surely not going to be the person that comes up with the solution to these things. And there's going to be multiple solutions that are going to advance us down the road. And we're going to solve this. We're going to get better at it. In fact, I just think we need to reframe it much along the lines of this. I want you to read this by Stephen Flynn, the founding director of the Global Resilience Institute at Northeastern, who very much believes, obviously, in climate change and our need to do something about it. But he takes a more positive note. This is clearly an opportunity for innovation dealing with this risk and an opportunity for us to rethink our relationship between the built and the natural environment in ways that could spawn better quality of life or better outcomes. I'm good with that. I think we need to rethink those things. We can't just pollute the planet. We can't just pollute the air and dump garbage everywhere. We have to be better stewards with the earth. And the truth is, we've become better stewards overall. I don't know if you know this, but like in the 1970s, before the Clean Air and Water Act, it was so bad in Pittsburgh that one of the rivers caught on fire from all the dumping of fuels into the river. Okay, so we've actually progressed. We've not regressed. It's just there's more people, so obviously we have to deal with more pollutants. And there's no doubt that there are better ways to do things than the way that we are doing, but we have to do them thoughtfully, and we have to do them without fear. We cannot use fear as the dynamic to move us forward. Concern, yes, but an informed, deliberate, logical, rational approach, not the hysteria that I'm seeing in some of the headlines. And that's all I'm trying to say. Because in the end, our words matter. So please, people, be careful with your words. I'm Gary Loss with Newsweek, and I hope you have a very awesome day. And I'll talk to you later. Bye bye. Take care, folks.